the threshold of what defines an endurance event. Endurance, I suppose, as an event it's the ability to withstand, right? It's the ability to withstand a given intensity or an event. But I think what's interesting is that performance in endurance sports, it's not just withstanding. We've just spoke about Zoe's success in multiple championships. Quite a lot of people can get to very close to the finish and they're able to withstand.
This podcast is powered by Team Builder Practice. Team Builder Practice is an all-in-one tool helping coaches plan smarter, not harder. Whether you're running drills, organizing full sessions, or collaborating with your staff, Team Builder Practice gives you the power to create, customize, and track your practices. This podcast is powered by Team Builder Practice. Team Builder Practice is an all-in-one tool helping coaches plan smarter, not harder. Whether you're running drills, organizing full sessions, or collaborating with your staff, Team Builder Practice gives you the power to create, customize, and track your practices like never before. Say goodbye to whiteboards and spreadsheets, and hello to real-time planning, built-in drill libraries, and session logging. Just for our listeners, Team Builder Practice is giving you a 30-day free trial with the code EURO. It's a great way to try out the newest way to plan and run your practices. Head to teambuilder.com/practice to start your free trial today. So welcome back to Science in Sports. My name is Simon and today I'm joined by Zoe and Jethro, an athlete and a coach from England. How are you doing, guys?
Yeah, good, thank you.
Yeah, really well, thanks, Simon, really well.
So you're an endurance athlete. Jethro is your coach. Can you give me a little introduction about yourself? Jethro, maybe you afterwards as well, so my viewers know who's on the show today, who I'm talking to, and what this episode will be about a little bit.
So I'm a masters athlete. I've been running for 12 years now, and I compete internationally in the 800 meters and the 1500 meters. So I have a track runner.
Mm-hmm.
That's Zoe being very modest. She's a multiple world champion and has numerous records to her name. But yeah, I'm Jethro. I'm here as Zoe's coach. I've been coaching in various environments across the last 6 to 8 years. I mainly focus working with endurance athletes on distances anything from the 800 right up to the ultra trail space. So there's a wide variety of athletes that I do work with. But really my speciality as a coach is working with athletes in that middle distance space. So 800, 1500 up to the 5K. Yes, that's my thing.
Okay, thank you very much for the introduction. Zoe, an opening question for you. How did you start your running career? How did you get into it?
Well, I'd always liked running and just did it for fun, really. Did it at school, but it was never my parents' really priority. They didn't really get it. So we played tennis and gymnastics and swimming, and we did all the sports. So it was actually after I got an autoimmune disease. After my first child, I got ill, and then health became a really important factor in my life, and that's what led me into running, and then competing, and I did triathlon to start with. I met an ultra runner, and he said, "Oh, you should start coaching." So I started coaching, and then I was in a race. It was like an off-road 10K, and I was winning the race, and I got hit by a car, and it was really a near fatal accident. Like the car was going 40 miles an hour, and that really led me then to look at joining a running club, because I wanted to carry on running, but do it safely. And I happened to meet a coach who was part of Belgrave Harriers, and he asked me to come along, and that's what started my running journey. And at first, it was very much cross country, club running, road running as part of a team, and I was part of a wonderful team, a really good. We won a lot of national medals with Belgrave, and I met some really inspirational women. But then I started doing track just as part of the periodization, and realized that that's what I was really good at and really enjoyed. And I was 35, so I was ranked number one in the UK after only doing a couple kind of 8s and 15s for my age. And somebody said, "Oh, you should do masters." And so I did. And then my first Masters Championship which was Lyon in 2015. I'd kind of let everybody get away, and so started sprinting with 300 to go, and went into silver medal position. But then I fell and came fourth. But actually, sometimes it's the races where it doesn't go quite to plan really motivate you and inspire you, because then I thought, right, my goal is to become a world champion. And so, yeah, I've been doing Masters Athletics now for nearly 12 years.
Mm-hmm. Jethro already took it away a little bit at the beginning. What were your biggest accomplishments now?
I've got a couple of world records, which were relay records, and I've got 4 British records, and I'm a 5 times world champion and a 6 times European champion.
Wow, that's amazing, and you still sound so modest about it.
Yeah, well, I think I came fourth quite a few times before I actually got a medal, and it was a big thing. And winning, the first time I won and having the national anthem, and it was a really big thing. And I don't take it for granted. So, we're going to talk about endurance, and I think part of endurance for me is about keeping going, and also keeping that commitment, discipline, perseverance, and I suppose that is part of me. That's what I've done. I've overcome a lot of struggles. I initially got injured a lot. I had 7 stress fractures, and because of my autoimmune disease, I also have got ill a few times. Like, I got COVID. I had a reaction to the COVID vaccine, but I kind of it spurs me on to keep going.
Yeah. Okay. Jethro, how did you get started as a coach? We talked before we started the episode how my journey went from a player to a coach. Have you been a runner as well before you started coaching, or how did that go all about?
Yeah, no, that's a really good question. I think right as a young athlete, I always knew I'd coach one day, and I think probably that transition into coaching happened sooner than I might have thought. I was a good athlete. I wasn't anything special, but I did have some really fantastic experiences as a junior, and in and around like a university environment. I do still really love the process of training and competing, and I still do so currently. But I think ultimately, a lot of my energy now and time goes into that perfecting that coaching craft, which is something that I've been doing over the last 6 to 8 years. I coach in person out of performance environments in and around Birmingham, both in a university and talent hub setting. But I also work online with athletes that are at the more performance end of the spectrum, which includes Zoe. Yeah, we've been working together now for around 2.5 years, right, Zoe? So actually, I think for me, it's a really interesting point for Zoe in her career as in Masters Athletics, in that quite a lot of those achievements have happened over multiple years, but it's around developing her as an athlete to be able to continue to compete and go after the goals that she still feels passionate about, and wanting to go after it, because, as she said already, and this is endurance athletics or endurance running is not easy, and there's a huge amount of physical, mental demand and time that is required to be stacked over months, years, and to really maximise your performance once you are getting to those bigger aims. So yeah, it's been a really awesome project over the last couple of years, and I'm just kind of looking forward to what the next chapters hold for Zoe and what she can do.
So it's not only about the short-term performance of, let's say, Zoe, it's also for you about the longevity of her in the sport to help her achieve the goals she set out for herself, right?
Absolutely, and I think actually this past year is probably like a really interesting case study, in that probably the first year that I worked with Zoe, we as she transitioned from a old coach who I still work very closely with today, to myself. Obviously, there was different philosophies and training philosophies that we applied into that early winter work, and she actually came out of that block really flying, and running some of the best times she'd ever done in those opening races. But I think one thing that I was aware of, and that unfortunately happened again, was this cycle of getting fit, being able to produce that over a short period, but then unfortunately breaking down with illness, injury. And I think, I don't want to speak on behalf of Zoe, but I think it really got to you, right? And it was a real frustration that you couldn't continue that consistency of what you wanted to be doing, which was, competing at domestic, international stages. So we made a really conscious decision last year to focus a little, to take a step back and to focus on her journey over the next 4 to 5 years, and say, well, what we need to do is we need to lay a foundation this year of consistency, and to be able to complete full indoor, outdoor track campaigns where we hope, and we will still get you in the best shape that we can do possible, but we're going to prioritize that consistency over pushing that level of training to really maximize performance.
Mm-hmm.
The nice thing is, we've sat here after a year and she's in a really good place. We've put together a fantastic campaign. I think it's fair to say we feel like there's more to be expressed, but that's the exciting thing now, is that we've laid that foundation of capacity, of consistency, and now in a really safe way, having got to know what works for us, we can really push on and target some big goals over the coming years.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think, like you said, that consistency is the key to everything. Also, if you see the endurance part, me is more like the guy for the strength training here in the ice hockey team. It's always about being consistent, showing up, and it's not, you don't win a race or you don't win a game in one night or one day. So you really have to be in the gym or on a treadmill or on the track on a consistent basis to see progress and to then achieve something that you might thought you couldn't even achieve.
Absolutely, I couldn't agree more. For me, consistency and intentionality is the cornerstone of endurance improvement, and I think we go there first before then we start talking about specificity and excellence, because they're the big markers that are going to make a big difference. But you can't go there until you've got the fundamentals nailed in.
Yeah. You just mentioned fundamentals. So you said you run the 800 and 1,500 meters, right?
Yeah.
For someone, let's imagine someone who's never heard of, the term endurance, maybe they heard of it, but they can't really get their head around how complex it is. 800 and 1,500 meters are considered middle distance runs, if that's correct, right?
Yeah, that's correct.
What else is there going on in the endurance world? What's the short-term endurance, the long-term endurance? What are training things you can do to optimize those distance you're running? Can you give us a little insights about that?
Yeah, I mean, Jethro is probably better equipped to answer this question, but I think really 800 is the shortest in endurance terms. And then it would be that upwards to the marathon, ultra marathon.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
the thing.
For me, in endurance events, or any events where the majority of that metabolic contribution is via their aerobic system. So for Zoe, she's completing the 800 in just over 2 minutes, which might seem quite short, but actually that's still around 60 to 70% of that aerobic contribution towards that that performance in the event, right up until the marathon, ultra marathon, where we're kicking more around sort of 98% aerobic. So that's for me, that's the threshold of what defines an endurance event. And endurance, I suppose, as an event it's the ability to withstand, right? It's the ability to withstand a given intensity or an event that you're taking on. But I think what's interesting is that actually performance in endurance sports, it's not just withstanding it, but we just spoke about Zoe's success in multiple championships. Well, quite a lot of people can get to very close to the finish, and they're able to withstand that. I think the differential for those that are looking to be competitive in endurance sports is, can they produce a winning sequence or a winning move, or produce a winning output that at the end of a highly demanding kind of physical, mental effort. And I think some of Zoe's experiences over the last year, over the past years in masters athletics, kind of really epitomise that. In that, initially, when she was involved with the championships, you said just falling short, 4th, 5th places, even an unfortunate fall at times. But actually, as she developed as an athlete, it wasn't just that ability to withstand and be there, but learning how to win and being able to produce what she needs to produce to go on and take that win at the end.
Mm-hmm. But I mean, even if you get 4th, you could still kind of say that's an accomplishment that probably not a lot of other people in the world can accomplish.
Yeah, and in that first race, I was ranked probably 7th. So 4th was an achievement, but
yeah,
I was in silver medal position. Like, so also, only 3 people get on the podium, only 3 people get medals. It's a really hard place to come for, but you want to get on the podium. That's the
obviously,
goal.
yeah.
Or you want to win. That's the real goal. So
yeah, I don't think there is an athlete who goes into a race with the mindset, I want to get 4th.
No, I mean, to be fair, I think it all depends on your goals, and I think
for sure,
when you are goal setting, it's
yeah,
probably those goals that you do set. One big advice from my side is don't be greedy. You can, if consistency is the most important, and that ever building confidence curve is something that is going to empower you as an athlete in the medium to long term. Well, you might not actually need to coming 4th or placing top 10 or making a final could well be part of your journey. And if you're clear about where that end goal is and what that big journey looks like, and it's probably about holding athletes to account with that once you've made that big plan.
Yeah, that's a good point. True. Zoe, can you take us on a little ride to one of your more tougher races, one of the races where it was really hard for you to get, let's say, prepared mentally or physically, or there was something happening in a race where you really had to adapt to certain conditions to get the results you wanted?
Yeah, I think a lot of my races don't go to plan, but it's just not panicking. I think because you've still, even in an 800, like in Florida, for example, we had this strange waterfall start, and my plan was to be out in front, but I was there were some very tall girls, and the girls who were sort of started further up, they managed to battling the inside, and suddenly, you get boxed in or you're fourth, but it's just knowing that you will get a chance to get past them and just taking that chance. And in the 15, there was a girl who was faster than me on paper from what I'd ran that season. But actually, I just saw it as an opportunity that, she was going to pace me. And, if silver was the best that I could do on the day, then at least we would have ran fast and we would have probably got rid of the rest of the field. But then I did always plan to try and beat her. And I was lucky that she didn't go so fast that I wasn't there at the end. And then at the end, I knew I'd be faster than her. And I've had a lot of issues in the run up to championships. So I've gone into a lot of championships where I've not had an ideal preparation because I've been ill or injured, or so it's really having to use the tools mentally to get into the right place, to be able to perform at your best, even though really, you may not have done that many races to show yourself, to have that confidence of the times that you can run. But I suppose you earn the confidence in training. It's not just racing. And I suppose it's just backing yourself. And because I've done it now so many times, I can have that confidence of knowing that I can back myself, because I'm more likely to finish in the top 3 than anybody else because I've done it so many times.
Yeah. What for you would be the award that means the most to you that you already won in your career? Is there one there which holds like a special place in your heart?
Oh, a race?
Yeah. Sorry.
I think getting the British record really meant a lot to me, because I just started working with Jethro and I hadn't really done much speed work, and I ran 2:15 indoors, which was a big PB for me, and to be able to get the British record, that really meant a lot to me.
What is it, or how do you feel about it, Jethro, seeing Zoe accomplish those milestones as a coach? How do you feel about that? You said you started working together since 2.5 years, I think, if I'm correct. How did the journey for both of you go, that you started at a certain point and now you see her getting medals, getting awards, getting to the goals that you both worked out together?
Oh, it's extremely satisfying. Like it really is, and I think, I know how hard Zoe works, and how intentional and how excellent and how thoughtful she is with the training and the way she goes about things. So I think to see her get the results and make those goals happen that she sets out, then it's absolutely fantastic. Like my role as coach isn't necessarily to define goals, and I think ultimately I'm always led by the athlete. Zoe determines what those goals are, and hopefully I can add a layer of perspective or knowledge that might help shape those goals a little bit. And probably my role is more to come up with a process that gets us towards those goals, right? So look, I'd be lying if I said that when we first started working together there was not a good amount of pressure. So I suppose from my perspective, seeing Zoe run really well and achieve a lot of these goals is as there's certain pride from my side as well, because when you are working with such a high performing athlete, you want to make sure that the work and the craft that you're putting into to inform that process is having as a positive result as possible.
This podcast is presented by Like Me, your partner for social media and online marketing from Weiden, and Praxis im Salzhaus, your contact for physiotherapy and health in Altenstadt. How do you both go about handling an injury, or handle maybe a sickness close to a race? Is there something like a blueprint of what you are then doing to get back on the right track, or is it how do you handle the setbacks? Let's put it this way.
I think it's happened to me so many times that I'm kind of know what to do now. So with injuries, it's like cross training and not to lose fitness. Or I've got a really good physio, so I can know that I'm getting the best advice from him. Um, yeah, and in illness, it happens, and I think the thing is, I don't tie my whole identity to being an athlete. I'm also a mum and a wife, and I'm a coach, and so when things aren't going so well in the running, and sometimes like everything, it ebbs and flows, then I still draw a lot of purpose from other parts of my life, and meaning. So yeah, I think you just have to do what you need to do to get back.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's really, really nicely put. I think that's one of the things that I've always been continually impressed with Zoe, is that she has this fantastic perspective on dealing with setback. I think obviously the athlete's health is priority, so there's no race that outweighs the athlete's health, and so that's the priority. If you are able to return from an injury or a bout of illness, and you think that there's going to be relatively low risk, and there's going to be some positives in going in and still competing in that race, I think the only thing from my side is that there's a bit of an art to putting in some training or putting in a race plan that is going to arm the athlete with as much confidence as they can have, right? And I think Zoe said it earlier, in that as athletes, we take confidence from the things that we have done, the things that you've seen in training or you've evidenced in racing. Well, that's not always possible when there's injuries and setbacks. So you've got to be, I feel like you've got to be smart and clever and lay in some work, some work that is going to be productive towards getting Zoe as fit as possible before the race. But sometimes that might not be transformationally possible. So actually it's more around just arming her with a bit of confidence that, you know what, like, that you're not 100%, but with a best mindset and fitness at 95% good, you still could be more than capable of taking on the race setting and giving it your best.
Mm-hmm. So is there something that you learn from Jethro, from a former coach, or also from your own experience during a race or during a workout, or just anything tied to endurance training or training in general, that you then can adapt and apply to your personal life?
I think Lewis, my former coach, and Jethro are both looking at like the bigger picture and long term, which I think for a masters athlete, where you think, I've got to do it now because I'm getting older and I'm just going to get slower, it's actually really, really important, and it's kind of stops me limiting myself, thinking I'm going to get slower and older. They're looking at the big picture of actually, with endurance, that's so important because it's the layering of all the training and the consistency. So yeah, I think that's been really refreshing, working with Lewis and Jethro, who both look at the big picture.
Yeah.
It's having those priorities as well. I think that's something that's really interesting. I mean, particularly in the middle distances, Zoe is extremely fast as well as extremely strong over the 10K half marathon. So you've got to balance those priorities and prioritize them at different times of the year. The one thing that we've not spoke about that is that often we focus on the work that gets done, but actually it's the other part of a successful endurance program is that ability to rest and recover, because that's where that super compensation occurs. And so that's probably quite a good life lesson as well, in that, yes, prioritize, yes, be intentional, yes, be consistent with the work that you want to do, but at the same time, it's important to switch off. And outside of your running, have you got good practices that enable you to really truly rest and recover and not continually stress your body with physical, mental work that is not going to be conducive to your body recovering, repairing, and being able to improve.
That's a good point. That's why I have to tell my players a lot that you don't have to give 100% each and every day to your ultimate maximum. That it's also important, like you just mentioned, to think about recovering, because it's not a lot of time, in our case, to the next game. We always have practice during the weeks. We have 2 games on the weekend, so they don't have to go 100% between the 2 games on Friday and Sunday. They have to take care of their body, take care of their mind, rest, sleep, and then come back with preferably the same 100% mindset that they had on the last game, let's say, and don't work out their bodies more than they have to, so they can really focus on the next upcoming like competition.
And I think if we went through the ingredients of what a training, what that training intensity distribution looks like for Zoe in a week, then ultimately you look at it and it's quite a lot of easy running. There's a lot of easy aerobics input into that, and occasionally it's heavy. It goes into that heavy type domain, and very, very rarely it's in that severe domain. There's real high middle distance power type sessions, racing, but it's rare because actually a lot of the work just has to be done and done consistently into an effort that is nowhere near that 11 out of 10. So yeah.
Are you traveling with Zoe together on the competitions around the world?
No, that's a really good question. So our kind of relationship and environment is majority like that across the online space. So we have been out on camps together, and I do often see Zoe compete. But in terms week to week, I don't often see Zoe training, which obviously presents a different challenge, but it kind of challenges us to be great on feedback, great on communication, and also just making sure that you understand and as much as possible the environment that Zoe's able to train in. So I've seen her race a lot. I enjoy watching her race. So yeah, and I think there's a lot of lessons learned from that then I can go back and put that into practice with a next training block, etc.
Okay. I have one more question for both of you, because I'm interested in the thoughts of both of you to the topic of the Cooper test, right? 12-minute run. We did it every year in my ice hockey team in the youth for like 15 seasons. So Zoe, for you, have you done it before? Did you like it? Jethro, for you, does it make sense to do that test?
I'm sure I have done it before, but I can't really remember. My sessions tend to be more like interval rather than just running 12 minutes. But I suppose it's like running a 3K really. But yeah, my kids have to do it. So the school make them do it every so often. And
yeah, I'd say I think I probably did it as a kid. I think it's probably a good general marker or a good general representation of like that muscular endurance, or certainly that cardiovascular fitness. For us, we've got distinct marker sessions for Zoe that we will do multiple times across several years, that we know what a good session looks like, we know what bad sessions looks like, and we're able to compare across them. And yeah, we've just come up with sessions that are they're more specific to the demands of the events that she wants to take on. At the same time, we've like Zoe said, we've not done a 3K actually in some while. I think we tend to focus on the 5K as a distance that that's around sort of 18 minutes worth of running, hopefully a little bit less. But yeah, that kind of time duration as a real marker of improvement across the winter. before then heading back indoors to race distances that really are runs between 2 and 5 minutes long.
If you can find any hockey player who did it and who said he liked doing it, that would be a surprise for me.
It's probably nice. It's kind of like it's a pretty standardized test that
Yeah.
can be pretty comparative across multiple cohorts and teams and stuff. But I suppose we get that from racing. you know, the times on the track speak for themselves. They're a kind of best marker of comparison and what that relative fitness or ability looks like.
Before we end it off, I wrote down a couple of questions for both of you. Zoe, first one's for you. After a race, what is your favorite go-to meal?
Meal would probably be steak or a burger.
A burger?
Yeah.
Keep in mind your coach is here too, right?
Yeah. No, like protein, I think.
Yeah. Joshua, what's for you after seeing Zoe making a big dream coming true, let's say? Do you have some special ritual with her after a big race?
No special ritual.
No burgers for you?
No. Nothing that springs to mind. No.
Okay. What's the best advice what you can think of, Zoe, or one of the best, you don't have to pinpoint it down, what you received from Jethro since you start working with him? Like what did he change? What you really liked and what inspired you to like still keep going, wanting to achieve more, continuing to run and have also this longevity part of it?
Well, I really like the belief that Jethro's got in me. It's kind of sometimes I don't think I'm doing that well, and but I really feel like he believes, like he said the other day that he thinks I can run faster, and so that's really good. And I think we're very much a team that I didn't go to the European Champs, which is on in October. I made that decision. It was never part of the plan, and it was really good to know that Jethro was on the same page as me. And I think generally we are when it comes to races and race planning and everything, that we're on the same page, and it's really nice to have that.
Mm-hmm. One last question for both of you. Oh, maybe two more. What is your both's hidden talent outside of running and coaching?
Oh,
This is a good one.
I don't have any hidden talents. Maybe putting up a tent. Quite good at putting up a tent.
That's a good one. Yeah. I can cook and I can draw. I used to be a lingerie designer. That's
Okay.
So a lot of people don't know that. I used to, yeah.
Okay, cool. Okay, so one last question for you. When is your next competition, your next race that you're taking part in?
So the next kind of race, which the next block of training is really working towards, is going to be the British Masters 5K Championships at Battersea Park, the end of November.
Okay, so you're both preparing for that to win some more medals?
I think it's more around. I think the 5K is a really nice marker of how well Zoe's improving across the winter. I think hopefully by consequence of her being as fit as possible and being in a really good place to take on that 5K, then there could be some good results from that. But I don't think it's necessarily a big racing goal in terms of making podiums and championships. It's more around the time and what that means for her, as the outcome of the training that she's put in.
Okay,
and
got it.
It's probably more, I think that the more track-based goals are perhaps looking at a bit more, looking to make podiums or set records or etc. So I think it's a nice time now before Christmas where there's probably a little bit less stress in terms of racing, and it's a really powerful time to really invest in yourself, level up as an athlete before then coming out after Christmas and really showing what you can do. So yeah, whilst it's important that we get some races in there, they're not the most important.
Okay, got it. Before we wrap it up, I asked questions for 30-40 minutes straight. Do you have any questions for me? What you're interested in?
I'd just be interested to see where you'd like to take this podcast, and yeah, where you see this going. What's your ambition for what you want to do in this space?
I hoped you ask something about hockey. Where I want this podcast to go. I started this podcast last year in June, I think, and I had only like 5 to 10 listeners. It's at a point now where a lot of people are tuning in, and my main goal why I started it was actually to open the doors for the regular Joe to have a look into my work as a strength coach in ice hockey, to then other strength coaches opening their doors so people can see how they are working, and also then the athlete side of it. How are they preparing for competitions? How they like go about with like mental stress or let's say anxiety, and then it just opened up the door for doctors, for physiotherapists, for my former professor was on here, and they all share their experiences. They all share their like memories they made, what they like let's say accomplished, and also like what I'm really interested in are the stories of the people. Your story, Zoe, and your work together with Jethro. It's like a big part of the communication, like the how you work together. And for you, both of you, it's very easy because you do it on a daily basis. But I think that a lot of people don't know what it really takes to work together as a team in a good kind of way. So I try to open the door for more people to have a listen in, to learn something, to take away something. And only if there's only one guy listening and he takes away a positive message, I'm happy with that. Just want to spread and share information, stories, and I hopefully can help someone with that.
Yeah, that's great. And I was going to ask, what does the strength and conditioning program, look like for ice hockey?
So in the summer, we started around June with some testings. And then I built the players. We have 25 players at the moment. I built them a program over the, let's say 3 months to end of August, let's say. And then we have a second testing battery to gather information if they did something in the summer or not. And then during the ice, like the competitive ice season, starting from August to March or April, we do a workout twice a week where I focus on either doing a hard workout and like a maintenance program, or we do some work on the disbalance of the players, on their weaknesses. And then the closer it gets like to a game day or a game day +1, like after the game, we try to just recover as quick as possible so we can have every player like at 100% for each and every competition. And obviously the volume in the summer is way higher than the volume we are at the moment. We just started the season 2 weeks ago or 1 week ago, and we have our third game tonight. So we try to have them as ready as they can for the games so we can get some points and move up in the standings and can hopefully establish us in the middle of the pack. I hope that answered your question and kind of.
Yeah.
Nothing more from your side. I would plug your socials and maybe some interesting informations in the description of the podcast. But Zoe, thank you very much for joining me. I wish you all the best for your upcoming events. And also, Jethro, I wish you also all the best. And I heard it from the conversation that you two work great together. And I hope that this will continue on for the next couple of years. And let's see, maybe we will talk again in a couple of years and we can again tell some new stories about what happened in your guys' life and my life.
Absolutely. No, thank you very much, Simon.
It was a pleasure
thank
talking
you for
to you.
having us on. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Take care.